All good. And we'll go live.
Got it.
Perfect. Okay, so let's do this.
So now we have to check on Facebook to make sure we are there. Hello, darlings that are tuning in. Here we go. I'm going to share it in my story. I'm sharing it everywhere. Share it on my page. Okay, and then I'm going to share it on my group.
So ready for this conversation.
I know. I'm so happy we're here.
So let's do
this. Has been a long time coming. You and I have been having. We've been
Right,
talking about this for quite some time now. Like literally,
right? Like all of the conversations we've been having in our DMs back and forth, going like, people need to hear this. People need to hear this.
Yes, and I think we should start out with introductions in case anyone is tuning in.
Yes,
that doesn't know who we are. So, please, if you are on the live stream, I'm actually watching from. I'm going to watch from my own page. So you can watch from Melanie's page and she'll look for the comments from her page. I'll look from my page and look for the comments there. And then that way we'll be able to catch the comments from both places.
Yes. And make your comments. Join us in this conversation because we know we are not the only ones who have felt, heard, seen what is going on and are craving more of these conversations, right? Like,
yes.
Right.
So Melanie, please do the honors. Introduce yourself.
So for all of those who do not know, I am Melanie Colton. I am a sacred womb doula and catalyst for divine feminine embodiment. I really love supporting women to come back into their goddess essence through this sacred embodiment of their sensuality, their sexuality, digging through the trauma, the triggers, the pain, the wounding, but even more so like the patriarchal projections of the divine feminine, and dismantling it all, releasing and then healing it, and helping women to step into their fire and embrace their sacred selves. I'm here for this conversation with Victoria. Like I said, we have been talking about this for like months and months and months, and the universe has just provided this divine aligned timing to just bring this conversation into the collective. And we're so grateful that you are here with us.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for all that are joining. Stick around for this beautiful conversation. My name is Victoria Welsh. I always accidentally say Wealth because I'm Victoria Wealth. I need to just change my last name to that. I'm a business energetics, soul alignment, and wealth embodiment healer and mentor. And I guide like soul-led entrepreneurs to become fully expressed, fully aligned so that they can actualize their divine identity of wealth and abundance. That's what I love to do. That is my thing. I'm a healer at heart, but I have a knack for really being able to, my superpower is like feeling the energy in someone else and seeing where they're not fully expressing the truth of who they are, and seeing where we can get in there, heal those parts, come back home to self, and then fully express. So I'm so excited to be here with Mel for this conversation. We started having this personal conversation months ago when the whole like Reddit threads were going on about the coaching community, and Mel and I both were like, I don't like this witch hunt. I don't like this name calling or calling people out. Yes, we need to rise in leadership, but we don't need to tear anyone down in the rise. And so we were like, conscious leadership requires it requires you to rise to new levels and have the hard conversations, but also do things that are going to change the industry, not just talk about it. And I think that we both agree that we are a catalyst for change and we're here for it. And so that's why we're here for this.
Yeah, like these this is the first of many. Like, this is the first of many. This is not a one and done with Vicky and I. We are we are here for the long haul in having these conversations and bringing, sometimes these hard to talk about conversations into a place of like neutrality. This is not about calling anybody out. It's not about tearing anybody down. It's not about pointing fingers or victim blaming or any of that. This is really just an invitation, right, for radical self-responsibility for the clients, for the coaches, right? Because the coaching industry is a beautiful, beautiful industry. And the concept in which it was born and it was birthed is very, very beautiful, and it contains such potent energy, for that catalyst in conscious collective, in divine healing, in, sacred sisterhood, in so many beautiful ways, like the conscious wealth, the, just the embodiment of
evolution, expansion, raising your own frequency, like the intention behind it. And Mel and I both have like an anchored belief that people are generally good and they have good intentions. Do good people sometimes do things that are out of alignment? Yes. But I believe, and we believe, that people are generally good. And so we started having these conversations, Mel and I, back and forth of like, how can we affect change in an industry that we love so much? And it was like, stop talking about it and be part of the solution and do something about it. And that's where this was born. So there will be a podcast coming out of this. You will see some stuff on YouTube. We will have this transcribed. We're going to share this in posts. And we invite you to come into our DMs. We invite you to come in, share your experiences. Because again, this is not a witch hunt. We're not going to come on here and be like, oh, this coach charges XYZ and doesn't deliver, ABC, or this coach did XYZ. That's not what we're going to do with this. No. However, we will hear your stories and hold space for you.
Absolutely.
See what kind of information we can relay in a way that would present solutions to the way that people have had previous experiences.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is, like, these conversations are happening in private. They're happening in small, intimate containers. And that's super beneficial, right, for the women, for the people that are in those small containers and are part of, those small conversations. But how does keeping all of these conversations on the lowdown behind closed doors really help the collective? How does it really invite us as a whole to, be on the same page, to be walking the same journey to that radical self-responsibility, to the evolution of an even more expanded consciousness, right, in our healing journeys, in our supportive journeys, on both ends of the table, right? We are here to speak to the coaches. We are here to speak to the mentors. We are here to speak to, the healers and the space holders, but we're also here, right, to lead and to support and rise up, in the empowered choice of the clients that are, stepping into these containers, that are desiring a deeper, intimate level of, coaching and leadership, and desire to feel safe, to feel, to feel heard, not to feel like they're being manipulated, that they're being taken for granted, that they're just a transaction, right? We want to bring this connection of humanness, right, into the coaching industry.
Yes, indeed. Yes, that's exactly why we're doing this. It's our intention. That is our full intention. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so, without further ado, Mel and I have kind of decided what our first conversation will be about. And it's really just to start educating what conscious leadership looks like, why it's paramount to the coaching industry. the crossroads that we're at right now, because if you're watching this, you've been watching the trend in the industry.
Yeah.
You've been seeing that there are like groups of people that are just calling out coaches, but we didn't see anything being done that was like consciously raising the collective, consciously preparing clients for what to look for in a coach, for what questions to ask, for how to know if you're energetically aligned and also strategically aligned. And these are the kind of conversations we'll be bringing.
Yes.
Tonight, we'll be talking about why changes need to be made, and what a vision would look like with conscious leaders really stepping up to the plate and not having clients as just a transaction and taking their money, but really meeting the client where they need to be met. Let's be real, you guys. The coaching industry is not regulated. And we all at one point or another, I'm sure, I know I have felt like just a transaction.
Yep.
I have felt like someone took my money and didn't deliver on what they said they were going to deliver. And as a matter of fact, I didn't even feel like I don't want to use the word important because that would be my ego in there, but I didn't feel seen. I didn't feel like my needs were being met. It was an agenda, it was money, it was a transaction, and it was an agenda. That's what it felt like. And so we really want to start presenting solutions for leaders and some good inquiries for buyers so that you're not walking away with buyer's remorse.
Right. We want everyone to feel empowered in their decisions.
Yeah.
We don't want people to be, to feel, neglected or to regret. We don't want, on the opposite end, like we don't want coaches to feel, right, taken advantage of or their boundaries being crossed, right? We want to like have the conversations of, creating a little bit of like unspoken ethical regulation in the industry.
Yeah.
And it starts with the individual on both sides of the transaction.
Yes, absolutely. Hello, Samantha Daniil. I see you.
Hello.
Hi, Jamie. I'm glad you're here. Hi, Cheryl. Hi, Jennifer. So happy that you ladies are here. Thank you for joining this conversation. And please, if you have any questions or you have anything to add, please just put your comments. And so I think we'll just start, Mel, with what we mean by conscious leadership.
Yeah. Right. So from my perspective, like, the way that I lead myself, right, is just self-awareness. I want every woman in my world, whether you are a private client or you are just an acquaintance on my Facebook page, right? I want you to always feel seen, heard, validated, and honored, right? And it's tough, right? Like it's tough when you have like thousands of people, that you're connected to on social media, and it's hard to, to balance the boundaries between those that are in close proximity to you, right, versus those that are just coming in to your energy, right? So for myself, I really look at my presence and the way that I show up and the way that I lead myself, right, on social media, right? And this is for me. I have done a lot of trauma training. I really dive deep into the embodiment and understanding of traumas and triggers that reside within both the conscious and the unconscious psyche of, each human. And I will not market to anybody's triggers. I will not market to anybody's wounding. My message and the way that I hold space for others, right, is to always give their power back to them. I don't want anybody to ever feel like they need me. that I am above them, that I have some secret code that, they have to have in order to have XYZ in their life. The truth of the matter is, whatever I have available to me, you also have available to you. And I want you, right, to embody that and, unravel that and discover that within yourself. So myself, in my work, I personally don't lead with money celebrations. I don't make promises of making X amount of dollars. I don't make any type of, my brain's going, anytime, but I don't make any
You're
promises.
really big about not talking about hierarchy at all. That's something that is it's a big value for you. Like you and
I don't believe in hierarchy. I believe that there is an infinite table that everybody can sit at, and everybody is sitting shoulder to shoulder. That's what I believe in, and that's what I lead in.
I love that.
Right? Yeah. And so for me, it's an accountability of how would I like to be treated? How would I like to be sold to? Right. And that's how I, lead in my business. And that's how I lead in my conversations, because this for me goes beyond my business. Victoria knows the business is, I'm not even going to get into a little conversation of being all in or not in my business, because I'm all in my business. But my business is still just an extension of who I am. This is the embodiment of Melanie. This is integrity, right? That's how I lead. That's how I lead. I do not ever want to dull somebody's light. I don't want anybody to ever feel disempowered in my presence. I just want everybody to make those choices that feel good to them, not out of lack, not out of scarcity, not out of fear, not out of FOMO. And for me personally, that just equates to total transparency, both for what's happening on the back end of my business, but also in my day-to-day life.
Yes, love that. Yes.
Right? There's no questions off the table when it comes to me. My DMs are always open.
Yes.
I am happy to have a conversation with you. I'm happy to share a little piece of myself with you, right? I have boundaries, right? I got boundaries. It's not, it's not a free for all or anything like that. So, because I feel like sometimes the conversation goes, if you're too open, if you're too too transparent, it's because you lack boundaries. And it's just I don't lack boundaries.
Yeah.
I'm so embodied, and I'm so in integrity, and I'm so connected to my intention.
Yes. You're very intentional, Mel. Very
people, nobody can penetrate my energy unless I allow them to.
Yeah. And I think that goes for what conscious leadership, what it means to you, and how you would represent conscious leadership, how you would lead yourself and be considered a conscious leader in that way. And for me, for conscious leadership, for me is a lot of what Mel said. It's a lot of embodiment. If you're not embodied in what you're teaching and what you're selling, that's out of integrity for me.
Yes.
That's fully out of integrity.
Yes.
And conscious leadership, and it for me is full integrity, a lot of transparency. And for me, it's vulnerability and authenticity. And, Mel and I have, we all get to decide what conscious leadership looks like for each of us. But conscious leadership above all for me means leading with soul instead of ego. And even when I'm triggered, even when someone calls me out, even when, and I've had this inside of my group where a woman went off on me and called me a what's the word, a charlatan, that I was robbing people's money, I still said, don't attack her. Give her space to speak her truth. That's her truth. Like conscious leadership to me is when I'm triggered, looking at what's within me that is being triggered, not saying, oh, this client is off her rocker or this client has high expectations. Like, are my boundaries clear? What within me is being triggered? Is it a childhood wounding? Is it like what within me is being triggered? So conscious leadership for me is a lot, like Mel said, but unlike Mel, because I'm a wealth embodiment, I will share money wins. I will. And that for me is not to trigger someone else. It's to activate someone else to say, like, this is the work I do, mind, body, soul of money. And and if you know my backstory, I went from $200 in my account to, multiple six figures in 18 months. And it's like to show the possibility for others. And so again, my conscious leadership doesn't have to look like Mel's conscious leadership, doesn't have to look like the next person's conscious leadership, but it is, am I doing what I say I'm going to do? Am I showing up in integrity? Am I leading with am I delivering what I sell? Am I giving what I say I'm going to give? Are the people that are paying me money receiving what I said they were going to receive?
Exactly, right? Because there's no woman behind the curtain, right? For either of us, right? It's just like the woman that you see front and center is the women that we are when we're in front of the screen, when we're in front of our clients, and when we're hanging out with our kids and our family. It's who we are. And it really truly is like the intention and the integrity piece, right? Because it comes down to like when you're putting on a facade, when you're showing up in a persona, right? To make money, right? To just make money. And that's the surface, like the level of surfaceness that your intention goes is just to make money. Now, I am not against making money. And if your intention is just to make money, then own it, right? That's what I asked for, is just ownership in whatever your intention is. Do not try and put a bow on it and put some sparkles on it and make it look prettier than it is, right? Don't try and soften it.
Don't call it prosperity consciousness when it's really just fucking money. That's
when it's just really fucking money. Like if you're going for the fucking money, go for the money and own it. Like there's nothing wrong with that. Right? Where I would just invite you to dig a little bit deeper, that is, if you are feeling conflicted in what you are offering, that you have to manipulate the words, or you have to, put some sparkle and, some shimmer on there, right? Are you actually in integrity with what it is that you are offering?
And let me add to this, because I think this is one of the big things like that we've had conversations about that make me itch my ass so bad that people that are claiming to be multi-million or $1 million coaches, when you aren't. You're calling in and it's trickery to me. Like, or you are claiming to be an embodied tantrika when you've taken one feminine embodiment course. Like, embody what you sell. Don't create this false level of who you are. Like, the way that you are going to really build your business is to be exactly where you are right now and own that shit.
Yes. Right?
Own it.
Because again, like from my perspective here, right? It's just like, as a coach, as a leader, right? We're also in a constant state of evolution. We are in a constant state of like reinvestment in ourselves, in our zones of genius, right? And this isn't meaning that you have to like keep on spending tens of thousands of dollars on a coach or a mentor, right? But it is like investing in the books, investing in containers that, hold space for yourself to dive deeper into that inner work, it is looking at, you know, your sisters and your community and allowing them to hold space for you and allowing outside perspective, right? To come into your, you know, into your zone of awareness, to invite you into further growth, into further
Yes.
expansion, right? It's knowing that, you know, our journeys are never ending. They're never ending. And we don't have the ability to see it all for ourselves by ourselves all of the time. You can do it, you can run, you can walk it solo, but it's going to be a lot longer and a lot slower of a process of a journey. So having, you know, like-minded community that you feel safe and connected to is so imperative, right? To
It is. Oh my God, it's everything.
accelerating that growth for
Yes.
you as an individual.
It truly is. Mel and I both keep ourselves not only in containers with other women that are doing the stuff, but being coached by women that, or individuals that have reached a certain level of where we desire to go. And I'm telling you, and this is not, you know, to sell a coaching package. This is to say, find your people. And look, I always say, if someone followed every single thing I've done for the last 3.5 years, they could literally change their lives with the free stuff. With the free stuff I've done for the last 3.5 years, you could literally change your life without ever paying me a penny, ever. And there are plenty of people in my audience that just stay, and that's wonderful. But if you want to accelerate your growth and you are like, I'm stuck, and you're still stuck after years, the way to do it is to get support and get yourself get yourself in spaces. And that's not, you know, Mel or I, we're going to talk about finding the right fit for you in calls to come. We're going to talk about the questions to ask. We're going to talk about knowing what your exact needs are first. We're going to talk about energetic alignment. We're going to talk about what strategically you're going to need in calls to come. So just know
we want you to decipher what is coming from a sense of need, which is very ego based, versus what is coming from a sense of desire and alignment, which is very soul based. Right? Because you will never make the wrong decision. You will never make the wrong choice when it comes from soul.
But you buy from FOMO, fear of missing out. And every time you are going to have buyer's remorse. Yeah, because that's ego. That is your ego being involved. Okay, perfect. So why then, Mel, why is conscious leadership or leading with soul or being soul led or heart led, why is this paramount now? Why is it important now?
It's really imperative for, like, you know, from my opinion, it really is like paramount right now, because the coaching industry has just blown up. Like, and I don't mean like, you know, in a catastrophic type of way yet. But I mean, like, there are so many coaches, right? And, you know, during COVID, right, there was an uptake of what I like to refer to as just COVID coaches, where everybody was, you know, sitting at home trying to make some money, and the conversation of like, you have something that somebody else will find valuable, so just sell. And while that rings very, very true, that everybody has medicine, everybody has gifts, everybody has teachings that somebody else can find value in, there's still an entanglement piece that seems to be missing for a lot of people based off of the conversations that are being had online.
Well, what was the intention behind it? If you came in just because you were sitting home and you needed a way to make money, your intention may not have been pure, and soul always knows. Like,
and, you know, and from my own research and what I've noticed, right, is just like a lot of coaches, right, were birthed from, you know, the MLM networking industry, which is very male dominated in the marketing tactics that are taught and passed on. And while that worked, for some, and it works for some, right? It's very old paradigm-esque to where we are now. In the last 3 to 5 years, the divine feminine has very much re-emerged into this place of self-embodiment and into the energy of receiving. And the tactics of the hard sell, of the bro marketing, of cornering your clients in high pressure sales and stuff like that, again, leads us back into manipulative marketing, speaking to people's wounding, speaking into that lack and that scarcity, which keeps our level of consciousness as a collective very low. Right? Like fear, lack, scarcity, right? Insecurity, FOMO, these are all very low frequencies. And when we are sitting around and cycling in and out in different containers that are just holding space for these lower vibrational emotions, right? We're going to have a very hard time rising our energy into a state of, a conscious collective and consciousness, which is going to actually create a difference.
Absolutely. I agree. I started out in network marketing and the tactics that were, I laugh at myself now. I share these tactics. Y'all know how honest I am and how vulnerable. If you're following me, hi, Leah. Leah's here. Jamie said coaching isn't for everyone. I've seen that unfold over the last few years. Truth. Holly's here too. So y'all know I share these tactics. Oh my God. Okay. This is going to be on a podcast and I'm about to share what I used to do. I was in network marketing.
Right.
And I used to, oh my God. I used to reach out to people on their birthday and sing happy birthday, people I never knew. And sing happy birthday to them and leave them a happy birthday message because that's what I was told to do. Do something outlandish, do something to get the attention, do something incredibly crazy.
Make it feel personal, right? Like make it
feel personal. And y'all know my raspy ass voice. Imagine just hitting play. I'm singing happy birthday to you. And you're like, who is this coconut? Who is she?
Right? And it's so funny you say that. Like my birthday was just a couple of weeks ago, and the amount of people that were in my inbox going, I have a free birthday gift for you. Come into my group. Come into my, and it was no. Like, let me just know you. Let me see your soul.
I'm telling you,
I can read your intention, and I'm like, I get it. I signed up for, MLM as well. I did not do very good because I just don't know how to be that person, right? Like I work a 9 to 5, right? And I work in sales, right? I work in outside sales in a male-dominated industry, and I still do not know how to sell in that paradigm. I do not know how to sell in that way. And you know what? I am the #1 salesperson in my company for all of Western Canada, just by being fucking real. I don't blow smoke up people's asses. I'm real with timelines and what, expectations are. Like, if I can't help you, I can't help you. Like, it is what it is. And if you're an asshole to me, go and buy it somewhere else. Like, I'm not a fucking doormat.
Yes. And it's like we had to leave that paradigm, realize, oh my God, what happens is you're taught that and then you do it and you're like, oh my God, this feels so icky. This feels so terrible. And I did, and I would do it over and over. And I would be like cringing in my body. And finally was just like, I can't do this. I was in some group that was like, you have to reach out to 50 people a day. And I was like, I can't. I physically can't. My body cringes. And now when I receive them, now because of abundance consciousness, now when I receive them, I don't judge, because if you're judging other people in the way they sell, you're going to be judging yourself the way you sell.
Absolutely.
So I don't judge, but the answers I give back now are just, I like pride myself in my answers. Like, I received a message in my inbox the other day that said, I looked at your profile and I can feel worry and doubt in your energy field. Would you like me to do, Spirit is telling me to reach out to you for a complete reading. And I said, that is so ironic, because I felt the same thing in your energy. Would you like a reading?
Right? Yes. Yes.
What's worrying you, my love?
Yeah.
Like, come at me. Come at me.
Yeah, right. And it's the same as, like, you know, I saw a post, I think earlier today or maybe yesterday, right, where somebody was just like the hiding of like the value, hiding the amount of what something is, and then feeding people into like a discovery call, into that one-on-one call, where you're putting them into this situation where you're going to high pressure sales them. You're going to, you know, give them every reason, right, why they need to work with you.
Yes.
And then at the very end, right, give them the pricing. And if they don't say yes, right, you penalize them. You're not all in yourself. You're not invested. And until you invest, you're nothing's ever going to change. You're going to continue to stay in the same cycle.
Literally browbeat. That is a tactic that is taught. It's even being taught to some of our multi-million-dollar coaches. It is a tactic that's being taught. You say whatever you need to say to get them to pay you. And once they pay you, then you give them what they need. It doesn't matter what they say they need. You give them what you deliver. You give them what you deliver. Yeah.
And we've noticed, like, this is why a lot of those, a lot of the upheaval of, you know, pissed off freaking people is happening right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you can only jump from container to container to container, you know, to program to program to program, and see no change in yourself, or find yourself feeling worse about yourself than when you started, before you realize, right, the problem isn't you. The problem isn't you.
The problem may be you choosing not from soul. That might be the only problem, but the problem might just be you making bad investments, bad choices, because you've been baited or pressured into something, or, you know, and you know it because you'll be in the container and nothing feels good. It doesn't feel aligned. An empowered sale should feel good. And this hiding prices, you're not attracting your ideal client anyway. Like, that's a whole another
conversation.
place.
We'll have another day.
I put that on our list. I literally just put that on our list. Okay, so let's talk about why we believe we're at a crossroads right now. Why is the industry at a crossroads now? And I know what I feel about this, as far as—
Go for it.
Okay. I know that the collective consciousness is rising, and that there is a greater demand from the universe, not just from the people. More people are waking up, and especially during COVID, so many people had mass awakenings. We had massive awakenings in 2020. People waking up and because their soul coming online. And when you become soul aligned and you're no longer making decisions from your head, and you're making decisions from your heart and your alignment and from your soul, you have greater expectations of the people that are leading you. Because something I said in another space where we were talking about this with the coaching industry changing is that you cannot expect someone who's never had a soul awakening to lead you through soul consciousness. You cannot. You just can't. They're incapable of it. You cannot. So if you know you've had a soul awakening, you know your consciousness is constantly expanding, you cannot choose a leader that has not had a soul awakening. You just can't, because you're going to have expectations that that leader cannot deliver.
And the beauty of it though is like we're all born with, our internal GPS. We all have our intuition that is going to either, magnetize us to somebody or repel us from somebody. And we've been disconnected from that for a very long time. But like you said, this invitation to come back into this evolutionary state of consciousness is here, and we have been ascending and awakening on a global collective level, massively over the last couple of years. And so we're going to find ourselves, feeling those nudges, right? Getting into your human design, right? You're going to understand like what your authority is and how your soul is speaking to you, and how you are meant to make those connections, and how you are meant to come upon your answers, right? We're going to find ourselves getting out of our head and more into our body, more into a place of safety, of knowing that we know that nobody else knows ourselves and knows us better than what we know. And this is going to allow us to create those healthy boundaries.
Yes, absolutely.
Energetically as well as physically.
Something that Melanie just said, here's just a hint that, even though we're not going deep into this right now, I just want to give you a hint. If you ever want to know how someone coaches, or if you should be in their container, show up for their free stuff and ask a question, and see if they ask you a question back. See if they lead you back into yourself. See if they ask you, because someone that will coach you into your highest truth is always going to lead you to what your answer is, not their answer. Your highest truth is always going to be different from what their highest truth is. And someone that is a conscious leader will bring you back into what your highest truth is.
Yeah. And to be honest, of like why we're kind of like at this crossroads right now, and why I feel like it's so imperative to, to be guiding and leading and having these conversations, is because, like the fact of the matter is, like, we've got skin in the game. We are both, entrepreneurs. We are both, coaches and mentors and leaders within this industry. And while I know that, if for whatever reason the industry was to change and become, regulated, we would both do the work that would be required, to keep us in, in this industry and, in alignment with the codes and the ethics and all of that fun stuff.
Well,
right?
we both have numerous certifications and degrees. It's just not, it's just not.
We're already there. We're already there. We've already we've dotted our I's and crossed our T's.
And not that you needed a degree, okay? Not that you need a degree. If you're in the coaching industry and you're listening to this, it's not that you need a degree, and it's not that you need a certification. There are many freaking conscious leaders that I know of that have 0 degree and 0 certification, but they are truly leading from soul. And it's not just a transaction. It is the desire to see the collective rise, to see individuals rise into their own truth, to see them shift, to see them change, to see their business grow. I've seen it all over the place. So it doesn't mean you have to be, just if the industry were to become regulated, there would be work to do.
Exactly. And what I was going to say is, like, I'm here for like the healers, the energy workers, the medicine women, the ones that, are embodied in their natural gifts. It's not something that was taught externally. It's something that is birthed within them. Like, you can't regulate that. You can't get a certification for something that is you, that is a part of you. And if we start to put all of these rules and constrictions on the industry, first, we're going to be moving backwards, because those rules are going to come from a freaking hierarchy and patriarchal conditioning that's going to continue to just keep us in, a lower state of consciousness. That's going to continue to feed into wounding and healing and trauma and suppression. And I don't want my sisters, I don't want to see, these women and these men that have such valuable gifts that are here and meant to be sharing it in this way in this industry, because they play a very important role in the state of our evolution. And if all of a sudden we become regulated and all of these rules start coming around, we're going to lose a lot of valuable people and a lot of valuable information. And
Agreed.
I don't
Agreed.
ever want to see us moving backwards. I want us to always be moving forward.
So, Mel, why do you think changes need to be made? Since we're at a crossroads right now, why is it imperative, in your opinion, that changes need to be made now? Like, looking at what's been going on in the industry, why? My question to you is, why do you think changes need to be made?
Because we've been really, like, we've been straddling the line. We've been straddling the line as an industry between ego and soul, to the point where ego now sounds like soul to a lot of people.
Yes.
Right?
It's a blurred line.
It's a blurred line now.
Again, I started this off with saying we have an anchored belief that all individuals are good and they have good intentions. However, if you've never had an awakening or done soul alignment work, you can be leading from ego and think you're leading from your soul.
Yes. 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 And we'll have a whole other conversation around that as well.
Yeah.
We can
I'm
go
writing
into
it down.
the channeling and the downloads and yeah. And
yes,
it's just there. It's become a mess. It's become a mess. That the ability to decipher between ego and soul is this epic crossroads that we are at. And if we don't acknowledge the shadow, right, and the humanness that is a part of the coaching industry, and by the way, meant to be a part of the coaching industry, because it is the catalyst for our growth. We need to dive into our shadow. Yeah. We need to understand our human in order, right, to have this ascension and, greater awakening. It's not about that. But
not about that, but it's all about that. But it's not about that, but it's all about that. Yes, right?
Right. But there's a way to teach it from a conscious place, from a soul place, from a place, again, right, where we're not stepping on somebody else to get ahead.
Yes. Agreed.
And I feel
yes.
That's the struggle that we're having right now, is that, we see a lot of people feeling like they're being left behind. We feel like a lot of people being, unvalidated. We see a lot of people feeling like they're being mistreated or they're being overlooked. And, it's in that rush of, being able to make a claim on, your social media, to make a celebration about XYZ amount of money per month, right? It's about, taking the pictures of the luxury, of the materialistic, of the superficial. And while I love money, I love luxury, but at the end of the day, it is surface.
If we're putting it above people, there's a problem.
There's a problem.
Yeah.
Like, there's a problem. And I feel like we're just at that point of like make or break it.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like changes need to be made because the soul of the planet is rising.
Yes.
And we are no longer available for that feeling, like you said, the feeling, the clicky feeling, the feeling of you have to pay me more in order to be seen by me. You have to pay more for just proximity to me. Like creating this hierarchy as if you have the answers to the universe because you became successful in what you do.
Yeah. Like
You've just figured out and unlocked a key within yourself and are living at like your highest expression. That doesn't mean you have the keys to the universe.
No.
Right.
No. Right. And because it's right. It's about doing this together. Right. We all know, the law of one. We're all intertwined. We're all connected. Right.
Yeah.
We do have people that are visionaries. We do have people that, are, way seers and leaders that, are meant to walk or be a couple steps ahead of us. Right. But they're not meant to be creating, a hierarchy because of, their I don't want to say like they're not, it's because they're not above, they're not, or anything like that, but it's just so like, it's a sacred gift. It's a sacred gift to be a way shower, right? It's a sacred gift to be a leader, right? It's a huge, beautiful gift, right? To, be, that frontier into, the new way of being.
Yeah.
But we're not meant to hold that and keep that for ourselves. We're meant to share it.
We are meant to share that.
We're meant to share it because we're mirrors, right? We are mirrors. And I know that like some of this is going to seem like, a little bit of a word salad going on, right? But it's just like, we are mirrors. What I have access to, right? And the things that I know and the things that I see, right? Is like, I'm meant to share those and reflect those to the women that are a couple of steps behind, to the women that are, struggling and having hardship, right?
And that's the thing. Here's where conscious leadership comes back in. This is the full circle.
Yeah.
Your soul chose this journey, chose to have soul contracts with the people that are going to come into your world that you are meant to activate into their own remembrance of how powerful they actually are. Yes. That is conscious leadership. Yes, Amy said it is a responsibility
to be a leader. Yes.
Yes. Fucking responsibility, but even deeper than this egoic living earth walking responsibility. It's a soul responsibility to be a conscious leader. It is your responsibility, each one of you that are listening to this, that you have sacred gifts. It is your responsibility to show up and share your sacred gifts because you already have soul contracts with other people that are going to be activated through just you and no one else. They're going to hear your voice, feel your frequency, know that, oh my God, their soul will start coming online and awakening to their highest truth because of you. And that's the responsibility of soul-led leadership.
Absolutely. Right. Because when you notice people around you putting you on a pedestal, when you see people around you coming to you, right, to tell them what to do next, where to go next, right? Even as like a channeler or a psychic, when you see people repetitively coming back in going, well, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Right? Take your fucking damn self off the pedestal. Come back to the table with everyone else.
Yep.
And rise up together, empowered together.
And let me just say, I want to add to or do a caveat to this. We're not all going to be at the same level of consciousness at the same time. Negating hierarchy, okay? Consciousness expands. So consciousness, like the universe is ever expanding, consciousness is ever expanding. We are not always going to be on the same level of consciousness at the same time. We're not. And there are leaders out there that I've watched say, I am not for you if XYZ. And trust me, I actually respect some of these people that are saying, I am not for you if you aren't blah, 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 because they have expanded themselves to a certain level of consciousness that they know that if you come into their world and you're not there, they can't serve you.
No.
They cannot penetrate the barrier of the level of consciousness that you're on. That's not to say that you won't reach that level of consciousness. It just means that someone else is for you at this time. That's all that means.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's all that means. And so when you see people saying that, don't go, oh, that's their ego. That's their ego.
No.
It doesn't mean it's their ego. It doesn't necessarily mean it's their ego. It could be them telling you the truth of exactly who they are and where they are, so that you don't waste your time or money investing with them and then not receiving something.
Yes.
That's all that means. So, don't take it personally and feel like you're being left out, you're being excluded. It's like, okay, I see who they are. They literally, who is it? Jan Van Zant said, when people tell you who they are, believe them. They're telling you exactly who they are and where they are. Believe them.
Yes, right. And I just want to reiterate here, right? Like, consciousness and elevated consciousness does not equate to perfectionism.
No.
Right? You can be very, very consciously aware and flawed. You are
consciously aware and flawed.
You are elevated consciousness and
it's
flawed.
Inevitable.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Yes. It's like, as you do the work, your consciousness expands. As you heal something, here's something I want to blow y'all mind. I've been doing like these ninja things. I'm going to do this in my group tomorrow morning too. This is my message for tomorrow morning. I want to blow y'all's mind that's listening. Every single time you heal an aspect of yourself, every single time you heal one aspect of yourself, you change a belief, you forgive your mother, you hold your inner child. Every single time you literally quantum leap. That's what quantum leaping is. That is shifting timelines. You have now become a new version of yourself every single time. That's when you hear people say there are infinite expressions of you, infinite possibilities for the way your life can look. Every single time, my private clients, and I have boxer clients, I have one-on-one clients, they know that we do healing work, and every single time we heal one little aspect, or every single time I give them journaling prompts to go in deeper for self-exploration, for a deeper self-inquiry, every single time they have just quantum shifted.
Yes. Because I'm a huge believer in the ripple effect. Right? It's one small pivot, it's one small change, and the ripple effect continues. Right?
Yes.
And it's funny that you mentioned like the quantum leaping, because I actually put a post on my page earlier today. Right? It's just like you can only quantum leap, right, as far as the vastness of your own safety within yourself.
Healing.
Right? And what is safety? Right? Safety is the embodiment of your truth. The unapologetic aspect of yourself. And this is the shadows, right? This is, the soul. This is, the goddess. This is the masculine. This is the feminine. It's all of you in complete acceptance of understanding that we're always a work in progress. We are here to evolve. We're not here to get from point A to point B like this, because when we get to point B, we die. Like, the journey ends. The whole point of us being here in a journey, right, is to learn, to evolve, to awaken all parts of ourselves and learn to hold space for all of those parts with unconditional love and unconditional compassion.
If y'all don't want to feel emotions, you go back to being that flittering, flighty little light of soul that you are, and experience being the light of the world. Like, we are meant to feel the gamut of emotions, the roller coaster, the up and down, and to hold ourselves in the depths of all of it.
Yes. Right? It is. It's truly about, right, holding space for the emotions.
Yes. Perfect. Okay, so I guess our last topic here, we know we've had you guys for an hour, we're getting ready to go. So we just wanted to discuss, like, really quickly what this vision of conscious leadership looks like and why we started, like why we're going to be doing these conversations.
Yeah. And I feel like we kind of, like, hit on a lot of the points during our our conversation already today, right? But it's just like, to put it up in a nice little bow, like, for myself, right? It's just like, I know the coaching industry, the healing industry, the spiritual industry, right, is imperative to that next level of consciousness for the collective.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
Absolutely.
And we are on that cusp. We are pushing the edge of that next, uptake, of that next level of, ascension. But we are being kind of like, taunted, right? We are being shown like so clearly to me, personally, the imprints and the projections of unconsciousness, and where it is still so entangled, and where it still holds so much power, right, for us individually as well as collectively. And I am here as a spiritual leader, right? As, a medicine woman, as a gifted woman, as a, as a heart,
As a sister.
as a sister. Yeah, as like, but like, like as a heart-centered sister,
Yeah.
right? To say, enough is enough. Enough is enough. We
Yeah.
have done so much work as a collective that we are ready to draw that line in the sand and refuse to cross back over ever again.
Yeah. Into egoic leadership, into
yes,
into the spaces that we were. And again, we started this call saying this isn't about calling anyone out. This isn't about saying I was in spaces where I wasn't seen, where I was re-traumatized. This is, we want to hold space for you. If you have stories to share with us, please, but we're not going to be like calling out people, but it's a like global initiative almost that like Mel and I are taking. Like, we want these conversations to be loud. We want to put them on platforms where they are heard, because it is a call to action for spiritual leaders to rise up and say, okay, I can look at the way I'm leading and look at where I may have been taught marketing in a different way, or look at where I may have been doing this in my containers, or look at where I may not have been holding space in the way that I should be holding space, or look at the way that only look within, and how can I do it better?
Yes.
How can I lead better? How can I lead more consciously and bring it back into self and be soul sourced?
Yes. Yes. Right. Because it's just like, when we're sharing our stories, both the good and the bad, right? It provides an opportunity for us to zoom out, right? To see a bigger picture, right? To again see where, the cords are still connected to that old paradigm, to the conditioning, to the wounding. And the more that we can have these conversations around the awareness of where we're still moving as a society out of alignment, right? The more conversations we have, the more conscious we become of these unconscious conditionings, entwinements, and imprints, that we're able to finally cut the cords.
Yeah.
That we're finally able to release, right, these conditionings, these limiting beliefs, these projections, these, patriarchal and hierarchical ways. We can release ourselves once and for all, right?
Yes.
It's not, right, we can share our stories in such an empowered way that's going to benefit you, that's going to benefit me, that's going to benefit us as a whole.
Yeah. And I think, and in future calls and future conversations, Mel and I want to like shed light on some of the things that are being done that are still in the egoic way. Some of the things that are maybe not so ethical or not in integrity. Again, not calling people out, but I mean, you'd be surprised at some of the shit that is going on in this industry.
Yes.
People that are not aligned with the stuff they're selling, people that,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll get into that later. We will. And just so that you have awareness, so that each of us is educated and each of us has the awareness to make conscious choices based upon being educated.
Yeah. Like, come in and continue to join us on these conversations, right? Share this conversation, you know, with like-minded people that will resonate, that people that you know are, you know, walking this same journey as us, right? Because the more that we come together in that state of oneness, in that state of union, heading towards that direction, right? It's like more accelerated, and the faster we're going to be able to create a greater change. That's what we want to do. We want to create a greater change that allows everybody on both sides of the table, right, to feel safe in their choices.
And if you have requests for something you'd like us to talk about, send us a DM. We'd love to hear from you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Thank you, guys. Amy was here. Hello, darling. Perfection is such an illusion.
Yes.
And Leah, thank you guys for being here with us. Alicia, hello. I just saw you said hello. We really do appreciate all of you that joined us tonight. Yes, great conversation. I loved having this. Mel, you know how much I love you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, sister, for having this conversation with me, because you know, we have these conversations at the risk of also being called out and being like, oh, who do they think they are to have these conversations? But if you know me, I don't give a fuck. I'm still going to have this conversation.
Right? Like,
I'm still going to have it.
Right?
I'm still going to have this conversation,
right?
Because it is something that I feel like is really important to shift directions in the industry.
Absolutely.
I love this damn industry.
Absolutely. We're not coming into these conversations acting like we know all and we're above all, right? We get to learn, right? We get to learn. And I know, you know, in private, we've had deeper conversations just between you and I, sharing different perspectives of all, like, right? So it's just like, this is part of our evolutionary path. This is part of where we feed our souls to continue that growth and continue that expansion. And, you know, we have our eye, and we've been having some conversations with some other very beautifully aligned women that we will be inviting, you know, to join us. And
we're going to have like round table discussions, you guys. Like,
we want everyone to be included in these conversations.
Yeah.
Okay. There's no hidden agenda. It really is coming from
we're
our
not here to sell y'all shit. We're not selling you nothing. There's no hidden agenda. It literally is just to raise the collective consciousness.
It's just to raise the collective consciousness.
It's our responsibility as conscious leaders. That's what we're doing. So that's it. All right. Thank you all for joining us. Mel, I love you so damn much.
Yes.
And we will see you on the next call.
We will see you
we'll put the announcement and the event out much earlier than 20 minutes before the call.
We will be more organized moving forward, but you will see a lot coming from us in the near future.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
There we go. And stop.